Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there, oh, beyond the sky. It's been such a long time coming, but Lord knows I know change gonna come, oh yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, can you help me? Can you help me please? Well, he winds up just knocking me right back down on my knees. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's been times when I thought couldn't last too long. Now I know I'm able, I'm gonna carry on. It's been a long, 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 long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Yeah, change gonna come. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gonna come.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much, John. That is absolutely awesome. And good morning, everybody, and welcome to New Thought Philadelphia. We are on Zoom again, which is safe and socially distant. It keeps us, as Jeanette was pointing out, we all get to come into the room at the same time. There's no single file that we have to do as we make our way in, which is delightful. We also get to connect with our friends from all over the world, noticing that we have some long distance visitors here, which is wonderful. Joanne McFadden, who's up in Albany, New York, just joined in. Hannah, who's in New Orleans, is with us. My closest and nearly farthest connection is Linda Francis, my cousin. She's in Arizona. And of course, we're going to hear from Patrick in a little bit, who has a prayer work story coming from Portugal. So it is wonderful to have you all here. For the most part, we're going to stay on mute to avoid the cacophony that happens on Zoom when lots of people are talking at the same time. But just for fun, I invite you to turn your mute off now, turn your microphone on, and repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
I open myself to divine guidance.
I open myself to
Divine guidance.
I know that I take each next perfect step.
I know that I take each next perfect step.
And love is right here, right now.
Love is
Right here, right now.
And so it is.
So it is.
And now, just for practice, hit your mute button one more time. And if you're going to be speaking during the celebration, you get to hit your mute button again so that you can speak, because we are not able to unmute you because of the security and privacy settings on Zoom, which in hindsight seem like they're a pretty good idea. I'm Reverend Bill Marcioni. Our music today is the amazingly talented John Conahan. We can do Zoom applause like this, so we all know what's going on. And our master of ceremonies is my partner, Reverend Dave Schbach.
Good morning, good morning.
Wow. Good morning to you.
New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. So whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you here today, wherever you happen to be going next, we've been expecting you and welcome. We believe that there is one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us. And we are each using that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. Or, as we say at New Thought Philadelphia, our new life begins with a new thought. So, in following with Zoom tradition, if you have any extra electronic devices that are not directly involved in this particular call, we'd really appreciate if you could turn them off or put them on shush, because they do have a tendency to interfere with the Zoom presence. We begin our celebration as we begin everything, with a practical prayer. I'll be leading this morning's prayer, so I invite you to turn within for a moment. You can close your eyes or just let them go to a soft focus, but let's reconnect with that power and presence that indwells us, for it indwells everything with the very goodness of its being, that divine mind that is sharing itself through and as everything, the unconditioned allness of love that is permeating and saturating every part of its being with the goodness of life. This unity of life is everywhere present in the fullness of itself. And so I know that each one on this call, in fact, each one everywhere, is an individualized expression of this consciousness that is love, that is intelligence, that is harmony, peace, and joy, expressed in a unique and wonderful way. And so I claim for each one of us that that awareness of the truth of being, the very essence of good that is embodied within each one, is rising into the conscious awareness of life, is presenting itself through the words, through the music, through the activity, through all of the ideas that are unfolding during this celebration and beyond, as an expression of that infinite love, that divine wisdom, that insight that is life itself, presenting itself right here and now as the good of spirit, knowing itself through us and as us. So I just give thanks to speak this word of recognition, recognizing that presence that is here and now as each one of us, as this entirety of life. I give thanks to know that there is a law that is responding to this word with all of the power and all of the intelligence that is required to bring it forward into form in this very moment now. For that law has responded to every idea that has ever been implanted in it from the very beginning. And once again, is responding to this idea of love and good and harmony and peace and insight and joy with a resounding yes. And so I release the word and allow the law to do that, because it's got all it needs to bring it about in this very moment now. And that's what it's doing for each one of us right now. I claim it, I accept it, I know that it is so, and so it is.
So it is.
So I invite you to take a deep breath. Come on back. As you guys might have figured out, we are absolutely firm believers in practical prayer. We also like to open up the podium here for anybody who wants to share a prayer work story. I know we're going to start with Patrick because he has an absolutely great one. But if anybody else is feeling moved to share a prayer that's coming about in their experience after Patrick's done, just raise your hand and we'll identify you and you can unmute yourself and share with us. So, Patrick.
Well, as many of you know, I've been looking for a place to buy in Lisbon. And it was becoming very challenging. I couldn't seem to find the right place. They were very small or very this or very that. And so finally, somebody had recommended I look one town over towards the ocean, a place called Algés, which is right outside Lisbon. And I was ready to place an offer on a smaller place, thinking, well, this will be all right. This will be all right. Well, I was doing some prayer work with my friends here, and I looked at a ground floor apartment, and I'm not partial to ground floor apartments, but this place was so fantastic. And it was only ground floor on the living room side where there's 2 windows. On the kitchen sunroom side, it's like the equivalent of a 2nd floor because it's on a hill. It was only built in 2002, which is very rare here. It's absolutely beautiful. I put an offer in on it. The offer was accepted. And now my next step will be to do a treatment for smooth processing of the bank loan and the appraisal, which they call valuation here. So that's it. It was beautiful. It's fantastic.
Yay, Patrick. That's wonderful.
Congratulations, I could
Patrick.
afford. That I forgot to add that. So yes, prayer.
And if
Please
you guys
send
were
us
here,
pictures. Please
if you
send us
guys,
pictures.
just a second, we'll have some pictures. And if you were here 2 weeks ago, we did a demonstration of how a practitioner or healing prayer session works, and that was Patrick's looking for an apartment was what that was about. And so this is the place that he got an offer on the day after we did that session.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. Anyone else? Breen.
So I had a health thing. I had to develop this patch of sort of irritated skin. It was very, very, very uncomfortable and itchy. I didn't know what it was. And of course I was Googling, and then I was like, wait a minute, I know what I can do. So said a practical prayer for health, healing, and boom, all good.
Indeed. Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay, I've got one. Hi, Bill. Hi, Dave. Hi, Dina.
Hey, Linda, good to see you.
Hi. So a couple of days ago, I filed a tax extension, and because I had to pay a whole bunch of money, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I did some practical prayer, went to see my tax guy on Wednesday, and instead of $2,700, I had to pay $430, and he didn't charge me. So yay, and that was so amazing. That was so amazing. So there you go. That was a good one.
Thank you, Linda. That's
You're
wonderful.
welcome. Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't matter whether it's big or small. There is no big or small in that which makes all. So, use prayer every day. It helps, and it helps align us and helps the universe move towards what we want, because in fact, if we don't ask, it doesn't know what to send. We have a few announcements. Breen, I believe you're announcifying today.
I am announcifying. This virtual information can be found on our website at newthoughtphilly.org, which is on your screen right now. How about that? We have a new member Sunday. It's coming up on August 30th. We've got a couple of orientation sessions following a celebration today and next Sunday, the 23rd. You can become a member to join your intention with New Thought Philadelphia community and come and talk to us after the celebration to find out what it's about. You can also join us for daily meditation, prayer, and support calls. They take about 15 minutes or so, include a check-in, see how folks are doing, and there's a meditation on health or harmony, peace, prosperity, whatever happens to come up during the check-in period. They're twice a day during the week, Mondays through Fridays, 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., Saturday at 9 a.m. and Sunday at 6 p.m. It's open to everyone, and it's the same link as the Sunday celebration that got you here today. We're also on Meetup. So a lot of folks use meetup.com for all sorts of things, and we have Philly Spiritual Adventures. We can find information about classes, workshops, Sunday celebration, and that goes out to the broader community. So find us there and sign up. We have a couple of awesome events coming up. We have a Fear to Faith workshop. That's going to be Tuesday, August 17th. So this coming Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. It's a deceptively simple yet powerful process to activate transformation in a challenging area of your life. So please join us. There's a love offering, suggested $20 donation. And then later in the week, there's going to be Meditation 101 with our friend Joe Mitchell. And that's Friday the 21st from 7:30 to 8:30. And it's going to be on Zoom. So is the Fear to Faith workshop. Didn't mention that. And Joe's going to share some of his favorite techniques from meditation practice that's been going on for about 30 years. It's going to be breath work, chanting, activate and listen. And he says he can guarantee teach people how to quiet their mind in 3 minutes or less. So that's awesome. Joe makes meditation practical and easy. There's no fee, but a love offering is suggested. And we have our Beyond Limits class, which is our fundamental class in New Thought teachings. It's 10 power-packed lessons to introduce the principles and practices of New Thought, and it will transform your life. I can speak to that, as can lots of other folks. It's a very, very powerful experience. It starts Monday, September 14th from 7 to 9:30 on Zoom. And we'll see how things progress in the next few months to see if it's safe to meet in person. The tuition is $200. Part of that is a half-day workshop called Practical Prayer for Real Results. That will be on Saturday, October 3rd from 12:30 to 5, where you'll learn the scientifically proven steps of effective affirmative prayer that we all heard about, whether it's taxes or awesome apartments in Portugal. And these steps are common to all the major religions of the world and spiritual practices. It's part of Beyond Limits class, but you can take it as a standalone workshop, and it's only $25. We have a women's circle that meets Thursday, August 27th. That's going to be on Zoom as well. You can see Joe or Sandy for details. We gratefully accept donations and payments for our classes or workshops via credit card or PayPal. There's a donate button on our website, or you can mail us a check to our office in Ardmore. And a special thank you to the production team who make the celebration work. So lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. Someone is scrolling through the website. That's not easy to do. There's a short technical rehearsal on Sunday afternoons and a final check-in before the celebration on Sunday. If you'd like to take part, you can talk to Reverend Bill or Sarah. Our ministers and practitioners are available for healing prayer. You can contact them through our website. That's Bill and Dave and myself and Joe. After the celebration, we have what we call a miracle in a minute, and that's done by our practitioner of the day. These sessions are at no charge, and today it's Reverend Dave, and he can be available for a Zoom breakout or a phone call. Just reach out to Dave for a miracle in a minute, and we'll also leave the Zoom up afterwards for chatting and checking in with folks and see how everybody's doing. And that's it.
Thank you, Breen. So we have a special blessing for our first-time visitors. If you're willing to, is anybody here for the first time who would be willing to identify themselves or hasn't been here in a while even? Wonderful, wonderful. We're so grateful you're here. So you can either sign up for our email if you'd like to, or get in touch with us or join the meetup so that we can keep in touch with you in whatever way works for you best. Meantime, everybody else, let's rub our hands together. We're going to generate a little loving intention and warmth. Put your hands out. You are the bright lights of divine love. Thank you for sharing your light with us today, and welcome. Thank you so much. So as we said earlier, we are an open and loving community. And as John begins this next song, when we're in a room together, what we generally like to do is wander around and hug each other. That's a little hard on Zoom right now. But what I invite you to do is take a look at the beautiful faces that are on your screen and extend some love to them as you go around them. We'll greet each other virtually. And then if you get done with that one, take it out to everybody you know. And then perhaps the world at large, because we can all use a little bit more love in our lives. John?
I'm in the right place, the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome here.
As I was saying, thank you, John. I love the Zoom muted effect. So we're going to perform a ceremony, which is going to be read by Carla Ann, and I'm going to share our Flame Cam 3.0.
Good morning, everyone. We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine feminine and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As Reverend Dave lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone or any place you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
Blessed be. Thank you. Thank you, Carla Ann. And today, for our reading, we have a statement that our community has been working on for some months now, in fact, and we'd like to share it with the rest of the community and everyone else online.
As most of you know, we have been meeting weekly for the last 2 months, a life visioning and action group on moving beyond white supremacy. And this is the first product of that group. It's called White Supremacy is Over. The Civil and Voting Rights Act of the mid-1960s brought an end to racism and white supremacy. Finally, the rights of Black Americans were firmly and permanently established. The notion of separate but equal had been quashed, and our nation was well on the road to racial equality. In 2020, though, watching the protests, the riots, looting, it was too easy to see the events of the 60s repeating themselves.
How could this have happened?
Our New Thought spiritual philosophy is based on the idea that everything begins in consciousness. In the beginning was the Big Bang, or the Creator said, "Let there be light." The intention for light is a creative movement in consciousness, and we believe that the power that brought light into being is still working. It responds to consciousness, whether it's one person with a creative idea or an entire planet that believes a certain way. As we look at the current circumstances, we understand and acknowledge that behind the events on our streets and in the news, there must be the consciousness that created it and the ability to change it.
Here's what we know. White supremacy fully took hold in this country in August of 1619, when a few dozen African captives were bought as slaves in Jamestown. The act anchored a belief in the inferiority of the Black race and the superiority of the white race over all people of color, including Native Americans. It was this consciousness of Black slavery and white supremacy that drove our national economy, creating vast wealth along the way. Our question is, when did white supremacy end?
The Declaration of Independence clearly states that all men are created equal. It was written by a man who owned more than 100 enslaved Black people. Thomas Jefferson wanted it to be true, but he knew it was not. This was an aspiration to equality with a consciousness of white supremacy. White supremacy did not end on the 4th of July in 1776.
Within 100 years, the idea that a race of humans could enslave another race of humans had become unsustainable. It divided our nation, and the consciousness of slavery met the consciousness against slavery on the battlefield. In 1865, the Confederacy surrendered, leading to the 13th Amendment. It abolished all slavery except as punishment for a crime. Finally, certainly, white supremacy had come to an end.
Almost immediately, the governments in the formerly Confederate states created vagrancy laws, poll taxes, and other legal mechanisms to keep the former slaves from voting. They also created police to control and incarcerate them. While in prison, they performed slave labor as allowed by the 13th Amendment. The label of slavery was gone, but the consciousness of white supremacy remained.
After the civil rights movement, laws were changed, but our collective consciousness was not. It was followed by the war on crime, the law and order movement, the war on drugs, and the militarization of police sworn to serve and protect. Now our country imprisons a larger portion of our population than any country on earth. Whites make up 64% of the adult population, but just 30% of its prisoners. Clearly, there is still a consciousness of white supremacy.
We of New Thought Philadelphia are joining all our brothers and sisters in the consciousness of truth, that all are created equal, that white supremacy has no quarter in our minds, in our hearts, in our schools, in our communities, or our government. We are moved to action.
We call for a revolution in consciousness for a nation in which all people are treated justly and equally, regardless of race, gender, age, religious beliefs, sexual preference, socioeconomic status, physical capabilities, or political belief, in which every person shall have the right and freedom to fully express themselves as human beings, provided they bring no harm to themselves or others. This freedom and equity includes, but is not limited to, the inalienable rights to education, healthcare, housing, clean water, adequate nutrition, wages, law enforcement, protection under the law, criminal justice, self-expression, free speech, marriage, voting rights, access to public services and utilities, and representation in political process.
Consciousness that allows white supremacy is over. We have seen people of all races marching in unity to end an untenable idea that never was true. We know it is possible, and we know that everyone knows it is possible. So we are setting the conscious call for love, forgiveness, acceptance, and healing. We are inviting the power that creates all things to respond now as we turn from fear to love, from supremacy to equality, from rage to peace, from suspicion to openness. And we invite all to join us in knowing, without doubt or hesitation, that white supremacy is over and freedom reigns. Our new life begins with a new thought.
Signed and submitted, the trustees and members of New Thought Philadelphia, an open and loving congregation of conscious choice.
Namaste. Take a deep breath. Let it settle in. Truth speaks its own words. John?
I don't ever let nobody in, and you found a way. Still I feel the need to hide myself and keep you at bay. Even as I stay inside my shell, I know it's not quite home. When you're here, I feel like I can breathe. Like with you, I've always known. Now I need to ask you understand that all this is new. All of my defense is stripped away. This is me in front of you. Maybe this is something we can share, learning to let things go. Hold me tighter than you'd ever dare, like with you in this space. We know and oh, you are everything. Everything I needed was in you. Oh, everything, everything. I remember days when I would swear, never give myself away. Peeled apart from battles of the past, loneliness was all I had to pay. Why'd you have to shine into this place? I could have made it through. Now you've shown there's no burden to bear, shown there's a home in you. And oh, you are everything, and everything I needed was in you. Oh, everything. There's just no other way for me to say it. This is not some game and I won't play it. Something in myself is falling away. And you were there to help me understand. No, you'll catch me at the bottom when I land. Falling in and loving you each and every day. I had never let nobody in, yet right here you stand. I don't feel the need to hide myself. Yeah, I've got my shaking hands. This moment as I look you in the eyes, I see that trust is true. Finally I can breathe and understand. Just need to stand with you and know you are everything. Everything I needed was in you. Oh, everything. Oh, you're everything. was in you. Oh, everything, 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 everything.
Thank you, John. So when I'm going traveling around places, I use Google Maps. I use the GPS because it makes things easier that way. And so when I get to my destination, I go do whatever it is that I need to do. And then when it's time to come home, I just like turn on the phone and I say, take me home. And the app says, proceed to Maple Avenue and head east. But I'm in a place that I have never been before. I don't know which of the 2 or 3 streets near me is Maple Avenue, and I don't know which way is east. And I could go in the direction that the little arrow on Google Maps says I should go, but it doesn't know because it just woke up. It doesn't know which way my phone is facing yet. So even though I've got all of this technology and all of this guidance available, I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know how to get there. The talk today is called Course Correction, and it's all about that process. So there's an old joke. A guy is playing golf, and a hot air balloon comes floating over the golf course pretty low. And the guy in the balloon calls down to the guy who's playing golf. He says, "Excuse me, I need some help. Can you tell me where I am?" And the guy on the ground says, "Well, sure, I'd be happy to help. You're at 39.99 latitude and negative 75.25 latitude, longitude." And the guy in the balloon says, "You must be an engineer." And the guy on the ground says, "Well, in fact, I am an engineer. How did you know?" And the guy on the balloon says, "Well, I'm late for an appointment. And although I'm sure the information that you just gave me is absolutely correct, it does me absolutely no good to get to my meeting." The guy on the ground says, "Huh, you must be a salesman." The guy on the balloon says, "How'd you know I'm a salesman?" And the guy on the ground says, "Well, you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going, you don't know how you're going to get there, but somehow, even though we've just met, it's my problem." I worked in a national sales organization. Thank you, Breen's been to that meeting before. I worked for a national sales organization for a while. I was the guy who was helping invent new technology to use, and we were basically creating stuff as we went along. And one of the branch managers, the guy in Dallas, had a saying. He said, "We don't know where we're going, but we're making good time." And it's the same sort of thing. But there's a nugget of guidance, something helpful in there that we can actually put to use. It's that when we're stuck, when we're in the parking lot and we need to find Maple Avenue because that's the first step towards getting home, what we get to do is, if we don't know, take a step, start moving, do something. And what'll happen is that little arrow will move around and say, "Oh, Maple Avenue is the one behind you." So then we can turn the car around or our bicycle or whatever our transportation mode happens to be and head in a different direction. That's a course correction. And it's really easy in our lives, not necessarily when we're driving home from a parking lot that we don't know about, but in a situation when we take that first step and we realize that we're not heading in the direction that we want to be going, to use that as input to change course. Or we can use it to beat ourselves up about how we weren't headed in the right direction, we made a mistake, this is awful, this is bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In and of itself, taking a step in a direction that we don't want to be heading is not bad. The bad part is if we insist that we're heading in the right direction, even when we're not. So one of my old pithy sayings is, if we find ourselves lost in the woods, pray and begin walking. The Divine Spirit will guide us and our feet will carry us. And you got to do both pieces. If we're lost in the woods and we just sit there praying for guidance, then we're going to be sitting there until it gets dark. And if we just start wandering, it may work out for us, or it may not. So those two things both come into play. Pray and move your feet, and it's so important to do that. In The Art of Uncertainty, Dennis Merritt Jones has a story about two people who are in New York and they wanted to go on a road trip. They wanted to go to Miami, and they pack the car up, and it's a beautiful sunny day. They've got a convertible. They put the top down. They put the tunes on. They get onto the highway. They're having a wonderful time. They're cranking along. They're driving. It's beautiful scenery. It's absolutely spectacular. They're having a fabulous time, and they see the signs approaching Chicago. And they realize that they're now farther away from Miami than when they started the trip. And even though they're having a really good time, they're not heading towards their destination. Because even when we're heading in a direction that's not overall going to be beneficial for us, might be a fun ride. Oh, yeah, and we've probably all had an experience where we've been on a fun ride, but it's not leading to the place where we want it to lead. And the thing that we get to do in a situation like that is to let go of the direction that we've been going in and open ourselves up to something new. So metaphorically, where we are, that's acceptance. In a spiritual practice, that's acceptance and forgiveness. This is where I am right now. I get to accept that this is where I am. And if I have a charge or an attitude, or I'm blaming someone, whether it's myself or somebody else, for being where I am, I need to let go of that. Because as long as I hold on to blaming somebody else, I'm going to stay right where I am. Or if I try and bring that with me and leave from where I am now, then it's like being lost in the woods without the guidance. We eventually will walk in a circle and find ourselves back in exactly the same spot again. Where we want to be, that's our belief system. So I know where I think I want to be. I think I want to be, I think I want to be in Miami. Personally, I don't know why I'd want to do that again, but there are people who want to, and for Dennis's story, they want to be in Miami. If I want to be in Miami and I find myself heading towards Chicago, then I believe that I should be in Chicago. My belief system is saying Chicago. And when I find myself making my way down that path that I don't want to be on, I need to look at what my belief system is. What is it that makes me want to go south but head west instead? And I get to look at that, and then I get to change my belief system. And the final piece is the movement. As we are starting to move, that's our commitment, that's our willingness, that's our ability to embrace something new. Am I ready to move? Because if we spend all of our time sitting there thinking about it, if we spend all of our time waiting for the opportunity to be perfect and to know absolutely certainly without any doubt or hesitation whatsoever, to have it proved to us over and over and over again, that's paralysis by analysis. That's keeping ourselves sitting on the purple pillow and not being willing to change anything. So we get to bring all of those things together. We get to bring all of those together and correct course. Now, as you guys know, my prayer partner, Reverend Captain John Hannes, owns a sailboat. Actually, he owns 2 sailboats. This summer, neither of which is in the water. Part of it is because he's building a house on the Delaware River and is focusing his attention on getting the house ready for guests for the fall. And also because it's really difficult in pandemic days to put a crew on the sailboat. So he's taking the summer off from sailing this year. But that's one of the fun things that we get to do periodically, is to go sailing with John. And we go out, he keeps his boat in Haverstraw, New York, on the Hudson River. And the fun thing about sailing is that if we want to go from where we are to another particular destination, the chances of going in a straight line are almost non-existent. Because of the way that the wind works and the sailboat works and everything else, we're going to head off in a slightly different direction, going kind of towards the destination that we have in mind, but not completely. And then at some point, we're going to change course, we're going to tack, and we're going to go back in another direction. And we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to zigzag our way towards our destination. It is easy to look at that process and talk about the ineffectiveness and the inefficiency of sailing, because you're never heading in the direction that you want to be heading. If we had a powerboat, we could just go directly over there. But don't complain about the efficiency of the sailboat, because there's, it's got an engine and it's got a, tank of fuel, but it's not using any of it as it's tacking back and forth, using up a little bit of time. But oh, by the way, this is a recreational activity. That's actually good. You don't want to get done with that quickly. It's like somebody who's in the middle of their life saying, "Oh, I want to win. I want to be done before everybody else." It's like, no, that's not how you win this game. It's different. So course corrections are about taking the guidance, taking the insight, taking the input from what's going on around us, to take all of the activity and the motion and the desires and the inspirations that we've had up until now, and let those inform what we're going to do next. My 3-step process for that I call innovate, evaluate, and iterate. Innovate, come up with a new idea. Let's assume that what we've been doing has been serving us to a certain extent, and we're ready for that next new step. So let us go into the quiet, allow Spirit to suggest to us what that next innovation is, what that next great idea is. And Spirit can be very subtle, and Spirit can be very clear. And as we cultivate our spiritual practice, it gets easier and easier and easier to hear when Spirit is giving us guidance. And the second step is to do it, to take that step, to start moving. And once we start moving, just like with the GPS, the arrow starts to point in the direction that we want to be going. It may be the direction where we're going, that we're heading in, or it might be behind us, or it might be some different direction. But once we start moving, all of the input from the world around us has the opportunity to provide guidance and feedback for us, and we can evaluate that, we can understand that. If we ignore it, then we're going to wind up driving to Chicago when we want to be in Miami. So we want to evaluate, we want to be very clear about the input and the guidance that we're getting, and how our actions are corresponding with our intentions, our desires, where we want to be. And then iterate. We get to repeat the process. And oh, by the way, every time we iterate, every time we evaluate and iterate, it's the possibility to beat ourselves up for not having gotten it right the first time, or the second time, or the 100th time. And forgiveness is allowing ourselves to not beat ourselves up, but to let go of whatever decisions, choices, and steps we've taken up until now, and just allow them to be guidance in this next iteration. There's a lot there. There's a lot of ways that we can all continue changing course. But as you go through this process, inviting something new, we're in the process now. I noticed that we're about a month away from the fall equinox, which is where the days are going to start getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Today is a cool day in August here in the Philadelphia area, which is not unusual, but there are usually only a few of them. And it's a reminder that times change and that things are different. So as we move through that, instead of being afraid of what that change is that's coming, instead of being fearful or pushing back on whatever's happening, is to allow that new goodness to come into our lives. Because there's a power in the universe that's always saying yes. And it's saying yes to that powerful, positive goodness. It's the same power that said yes to that wonderful apartment for Patrick. I'm talking to John Conahan before the celebration, and he's a high school teacher. And just in the last few days, the Board of Education changed their mind, and he and his fellow teachers do not have to go back in person to the high school. They have elected to allow them to teach remotely, at least through November. And things change. That didn't have to be that way. And there can be a fight about it. There can be taking a stand and, taking a step. And then there's the surrendering and the allowing and the inviting. And the universe is always saying yes. So whatever's coming up for you, be clear about where it is that you want to be. Be honest about where it is that you are now, and be willing to take the next step. And the good is yours. And you deserve it, because you are a blessing. So it is. Thank you.
Let us break bread together in the silence of our own. Let the honesty close another wound. Let us all thank the mothers for the days we're given to. Let us all come together soon. May the sun in its grandeur be the labor of our lives. May our penance come to us in rhyme. And when the waters awaken, they will comfort all our hearts. We'll return to the place we did start. So let us all come together, all come together. Let us all come together soon. Let us all come together, all come together. May we all come together soon. There is patience and sorrow with a quiet, steady hand, and a day when you'll come to understand. And we'll shed these religions as we dance beneath the moon. Let us all come together soon. Let us all come together, all come together. Let us all come together soon. Let us all come together, all come together. May we all come together soon. May we all come together soon.
Thank you, John. So as Reverend Bill was talking, I was thinking that in New Thought and in life, we are all exactly where we are supposed to be in this very moment. For us to choose where we want to be in the next. For all of our lives have led up to this moment. And whether we are in a spot of charting a new course, finding a new star, or making an adjustment to the course that we are on, perhaps a rededication or a new insight into what best will move that forward in our experience. We are all in that perfect place to make that decision in this moment. So we're going to do a little bit of a meditation. And since we're all in different places on our course in life, you can start where we are and decide what you would like to chart your course to, whether it's a new star or a new activity, or whether it's a reconfirmation of the course that you are already on. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes or go to a soft focus, and we're going to take a couple of deep breaths to center in and reconnect with this presence that is always there. So let's take a deep breath and hold it for a moment. Just feel the tension for a moment and let it go and feel the relaxation. Another deep breath, full and complete, filling the lungs. Hold it for a moment and release and relax. One more deep and full breath, completely filling the lungs, holding it, allowing ourselves to feel that tension for a moment and release and relax. Allow your breathing to return to a gentle, even pace. Whatever is comfortable for you, allowing yourself to relax even further. And for the moment, allow yourself to be absorbed into the rhythm of your breathing, the feel of your breath, perhaps focusing the awareness on the point at which the breath is entering and leaving your body, the lips or the nostrils, whatever it happens to be for you. And just settle the mind into the feeling of the air, the cool in-breath, the warmth of the exhalation. Allowing ourselves to free ourselves from any prior thought in this moment and just be present with the breathing. Recentering in that allness of life. Connecting with the indwelling presence of the divine. Wherever we are going, or think we are going, the presence is here now within us. The divine intelligence, the allness of spirit, lives in its fullness within each one of us, expressing perfection through the channel of individual life. And so wherever we are in this moment is perfect for us. It is the perfect opportunity for that infinite consciousness to express itself in a unique and wonderful way. In fact, each one of us is required right here and right now to be that divine spirit in a unique and wonderful way. The course that we are on, that we are led to, guided to, surprised by, is perfect for us. We intuitively know that that course is correct, for we feel the presence drawing us to it. So I invite you in this moment to take a moment and look around in your mental sanctuary to do a brief assessment of where you are, without judgment, just recognizing that where we are in condition is an expression of who we have been until this moment. And allow yourself to select or reinforce, reconfirm the correctness of where you are and where you are going. If it's somewhere different, let it be that. If it is a deep truth that you are already following, let it be that. If it is time to float on the wind, let it be that. And just open yourself to a new vision or a reinforced vision of what's next. And as we move more deeply into silent contemplation of this, allow that new vision to take on life. Step into it. Allow yourself to envision how it would feel, how it looks, perhaps even what you are saying and who you are with. But step into the idea fully and let it be real in this moment as we explore the course we are on.
I'll speak this practical prayer in the first person for myself, and I invite everyone who's hearing it to take it for yourself also in the first person. There is one mind. That mind is the divine mind. That mind is my mind now. There's one mind. That mind is the divine mind. That mind is my mind now. I know that I am guided and directed and inspired by that divine mind, which is mine now. I know that I am guided and directed to take each next perfect step. I set my desire for the experience I wish to have, and the divine mind guides me in exactly that which is mine to do. And I have the willingness, the commitment, the ability, the determination, the openness to take each next perfect step. In working together, the divine mind guides me to step into this next new experience of joy and love and prosperity and harmony, of health and vitality, of goodness, of insight, of love and connection, of creativity and productive work, of a deep spiritual experience. The divine mind is supporting me in every area of my life, any area of my life. I invite the good, and the infinite says yes. So this is unfolding right now for each of us. This is love revealing itself more deeply, more fully, more richly in our lives. So I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the wonderful stories about this good coming into our experience. I'm grateful for the willingness of each one to be ready to step into this adventure. Let go of whatever has guided us to make this new invitation. Grateful for the willingness to step into the new. I'm grateful for the unfolding that's already underway. And so with this deep feeling of gratitude, I speak this word of intention. And I release it to the creative law, the same law that has said yes since the infinite said, let there be. It always says yes. And once again says yes. And so it is. I know it is. Amen. So go ahead and take a deep breath in. Allow yourself to be filled. And breathe out. And relax and surrender and let go. Bring some motion back to your fingers and toes. Bring your awareness back into your body. And sometime as John does this next song, you can open your eyes and return your attention to the Zoom in the room.
There's a place for us somewhere, a place for us, peace, quiet and open air. So wait for us in that somewhere. There's a time for us, someday a time for us, time together with time to spare, time to learn, time to care. Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving. Somewhere. There's a place for us, a time and place for us. So hold my hand, and we're halfway there. Hold my hand, and I'll take you there. Somehow, someday, somewhere.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. So our friend Joni says the posse is the preacher, and we kind of go through planting inspirational seeds and then see what's growing. So if anybody have anything that has come up for you today that you'd like to give voice to, this is an opportunity to do that with your fellow adventurers. Just go ahead and raise your hand, go on unmute. Carol, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I just, this is such an amazing service. It's so wonderful to hear John and listen. The message was great. And I keep coming back in my mind to the class, The Art of Uncertainty class, and actually my final project, which is 6 lines of a poem. Yeah, I just keep on circling back to that because that's exactly, you know, where it's at, is like in the moment. It's all we have is right here and right now. So thank you everybody for being here. It's wonderful to see everybody. I am very, very grateful.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah. So, Breen, go ahead.
Thanks, Bill. And thank you, John. Beautiful stuff. And Dave, that meditation, it's a beautiful service, as folks were saying. And Bill, I really appreciated, as you talked about self-forgiveness, when we stop and realize we're not where we started out. Because I know sometimes I'm very hard on myself and very critical, like, oh, you so and so, look what you've done, look where you ended up. This is not where you're supposed to be. Instead of just saying, all right, well, this is where I am here now. Cop to that, own it, but don't beat myself up and chart my course for where I'm going next. So I really appreciated this self-forgiveness piece.
Thank you, Breen. Yeah, the number of areas in my life where I just was spinning my wheels and headed in the wrong direction and doing something that didn't make any sense for me at the time, that only many years, or in some cases decades later, came back around to have been useful. Even if it's just something as simple as knowing the joke about the guy in the balloon, you know. Anybody else? Dina.
Whew, so much to say. First of all, John, you just shredded me into thousands of pieces. Thank you. The meditation, the words, everything was just amazing. And as I've been sitting here for the last few days, just feeling extremely overwhelmed by how many projects I have to do in a very short time, and feeling like, man, I feel like I need help. How am I going to carry this? I just got the remembrance that I don't need to carry everything. I may be doing I may be moving my feet, but there is spirit that will absolutely 1000% carry me through. And that was a gift. So thank you.
I have something to say at this time.
Okay, Annie.
So I was thinking about times in my life when I was starting over and that like empty feeling. And then in my mind during the meditation, I transitioned like, that's not empty, that's open. That's open to something new. And through New Thought Philly, I was telling a friend the other day, like many of the other things I tried in my life to find contentment or purpose or it just wasn't the same until I found this path. And I'm so excited about practitioner studies. Filling out the paperwork, and I was like, this is a joyful task. And I'm like, what? Paperwork, joyful? But I was excited to write down, like, why do I want to do this? And I just know that things are just going to keep getting better and better for me and my family. And I really love the place I'm at. So if I like where I'm at, then I can't even imagine the goodness and blessings that are coming. So thanks, Bill and Dave, for that.
Amen. Thank you. One more. Got time for Carla.
Hi, thank you. First off, please stop making me so emotional at these services, but
Nope.
thank you.
Nope, not gonna stop. Nope.
Reverend Dave, thank you so much for that visualization. It was amazing. And Reverend Bill, the talk. I spent my life feeling like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole and like shaving myself down to where I've not really had much of a voice and not been aware of quite why. But in recent times, I'm learning, and I feel like with you guys, I have a voice. Oh gosh, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish those, but so I'm just gonna say thank you very much.
Hey, Bill,
Yeah.
you have a minute for me to say something? I mean, I guess you do because I just did. But anyway.
My favorite cousin, I might go stop you. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So I've been thinking in the last few weeks about finding a spiritual community, and then bingo, my cousin Bill sends me an invitation. So I appreciate the warm welcome. I don't want to use the word warm since it's so incredibly hot here, but anyway, I appreciate it. I love you all. This was a wonderful experience, a great way to start my day. It was particularly cool because I got out of bed, got my coffee, and went to church, so it was pretty neat. So thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it. Dave, Bill, Dina, good to see you. Love you all. And thank you everyone for sharing your morning with me.
You bet. And welcome home. Breen?
Well, New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions, and the gift you share on our donate page at newthoughtphilly.org helps fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We are grateful for every way that you share. We're offering affirmations on the screen, so please join together and we'll say the affirmation. I live in an abundant universe.
I am one with the infinite source of all good. I am a center of conscious prosperity. I enjoy the richness of life. I bless my gift. I share my gift with gratitude and joy. I know that as I give, I do receive. So it is. So it is.
This last song is supposed to be up-tempo and fun, and it is in its way, but it also is something that kind of reflects what Dina was talking about. So here it comes. I've lived a life full of sorrow, with nowhere to run or to hide. Happiness you'll see is borrowed. All I need is you by my side, gentle river. Take me away, take me to the time of happier days. All I need is love and company. Gentle river, oh, bring it back to me. You can spend your whole life crying, brother, I don't need your sympathy, 'cause I've made my life to live in. All I need is you here with me, gentle river. Come take me away, take me to the time of happier days. All I need is love and company. So
Thank you, John. Thank you all for being here. So we get to end with one of our favorites, with a cacophony. First of all, we are grateful for all of the gifts that are shared with New Thought Philadelphia, and allow those gifts to go out into the world, supporting the work that we do and allowing that light to shine ever brighter. If there's anybody who is on the Zoom today and you have not signed up for our e-newsletter, please go to the website and sign up for that. That's our primary way of being able to keep in touch with you, because we want to make sure that we can communicate with you in a way that is going to be sensible for you without stalking or chasing. So go ahead and unmute your microphone, if you would. Go ahead and reach out to your friends as though you're going to hold hands through the Zoom, and repeat after me. I am love.
I am love.
I am light.
I am light.
I am guided.
I am
guided.
I let the love flow.
I let the
love flow.
And I let my light shine.
I let my light shine.
And so it is.
And
And so it is. Yeah, thank you all. Stick around for a while. Again, we have orientation for the new members. It's going to be at 12:15, the same Zoom meeting. So if you're going to be attending that, you can just turn off your mic and your speakers in the meantime, or come back to the meeting, and we will see you then there. In the meantime, everybody's welcome to hang out, chat amongst yourselves.
Yay.
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 So lovely.
So lovely.
John,
thank you, John. That was just
You made us
rocking, man. You know,
Spectacular.
nailed it.
And that song from West Side Story, just awesome. So awesome.
Thanks. I like that one a lot.